Cool. Well, I'll just ask you a few questions about how your marathon went, and you're just starting there, Jody. And how much experience do you have with your running?
Oh, I've been running all my life, really. But in actual races, like half marathons, I think I started in 2015 because I ran 3 Golden Gates. I ran half in Long Beach and then a half in Orange County. So 5 altogether, halves.
And you just ran your first marathon, and you started in 2015 running races. What were some of the biggest challenges you were having with your training?
Probably not training good enough. I know when I did the Long Beach half, they advertised it as 100% flat. So I didn't really train much at all. And it was not 100% flat. There was one little hill before I kind of would be out running and just did it. But I think I feel like I'm just in better shape now.
And weren't you dealing with like a knee injury along the lines of that?
Not an injury, but my knee was hurting a little bit, but it didn't hurt at all during the race. I think the reason why is because when you told me, because before I was running like every day, except maybe one day a week. So I think I was running too much, and that's why my knee was hurting. So when you told me to run only 3 days, I think that helped a lot.
Just because there was less pounding and pressure on your knee, or do you think also was because the strength training, you're really just strengthening your knee?
Well, I think both of those. But I think the strength training is what really might have helped with all the squats and stuff. Yeah, because it didn't hurt at all.
That's amazing. And then in terms of strength training, you didn't have much experience with lifting weights, did you?
Not really. I mean, I had this video that I've done for years and years and years, and it's just with little weights. It's not anything that I'd never, went to the gym or anything like that. So.
And do you feel like with us working together and the way I laid out, did you feel like you had more clarity on what to do in the gym?
Yeah, that helped me a lot. Your videos helped a lot. Although I didn't go to the gym because I didn't want to pay for a prescription that I didn't think I was going to use. So basically, I just tried to use the weights that I had at home and mimic what you were doing.
In terms of your training, obviously my training is significantly different than most people. Most people run every day, like what you were doing, and mine's 3 days of running, 3 days of lifting. How did you like that style of training?
I liked it. I really did. I knew that I had to do strength training in order to build my muscles to go the long run. So I liked that part. And basically, as it turned out, my knee wasn't hurting as much as it was when I was running like every day. And I felt like I didn't need to run every day. I mean, I got the job done on the marathon and I didn't run every day. So it all worked.
Was there a moment, or how long do you think it was until you started to notice that incorporating strength training, reducing volume was ultimately helping you with your training? Is there a certain day or time you really noticed when you started to work?
I think after I ran one of my long runs, 20 miles, that I realized that the strength training was helping. And that was one of the reasons why I was able to go the distance.
In what ways did you see strength training affecting your running?
I felt like it just didn't make my legs as tired. So like I remember doing one of my marathon or half marathons in San Francisco, the Golden Gate. And that's very, very hilly. And I remember on the last mile 12, my legs were just shaking. And so I didn't have any of that on the marathon. And that 100% is because of the strength training.
Oh, that's awesome. And so what would you tell runners who aren't doing any strength training? Would you tell them to incorporate strength training, or what would you tell them that are training for a marathon?
Most definitely incorporate the strength training because that definitely helps. I mean, you need your legs to get you through, over the finish line, and you can't have that if you have weak legs. So that helped me tremendously.
And then just talk about the marathon itself. What was your experience like? How did the race go itself?
It went really well. It was supposed to start at 6. It was pitch black, but they had lights and everything. So that wasn't any big deal. It didn't start till like 6:20. The crowd was actually getting kind of irritated and was yelling. But once it started, it was really nice. It was in the 60s, low 60s when we started. And I think when we finished, it was up in the 70s, mid 70s. So it got really hot at the end. And the end part was all the hills. They said that there was an elevation change of 82, but when I did my tracker, my MapQuest or Map My Run, it said that the elevation change was like 620. So I'm not sure what why there was so much difference, but Yeah, mile 18 started with the hills, and mile 15 was kind of like a slow, long incline. And that was a part of the race that was super hot. So I just kind of drenched myself with water and just carried on.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
the strength for the last 6 miles? A lot of runners, they hit the wall at mile 20, their legs are getting tired, they're pretty fatigued. Well, my theory is that they're not doing any strength training. But for you, do you feel like you're able to at least prolong the duration of when you hit the wall because of you were focusing on lifting weights while training?
Yeah, I really didn't feel like I hit any wall. At one point, my thigh hurt a little bit, but then, I mean, that was just for a brief minute. The only bad thing about the whole race is my AirPods gave out between mile 20 and 23. So no music at the end of the race, which was really annoying.
My AirPod gave or died on me on mile 13 of my first marathon. So I have never trained without listening to music. And when I was playing
Yeah.
growing up, sure, but running, lifting weights, always had my AirPods. And then I had to run 13 miles with no music on my first marathon. Worst experience of all time, but
It, you know, and they were kind of like messing up before, and I thought that I should take like one that had an actual cord
yeah,
with me just in case, and then I totally forgot. Yeah, that was horrible.
that's so funny.
Yeah,
And
that was the
so
part.
what was your marathon time?
It was 4:38.
And so, last question for you: what would you say to the people who are on the fence with working with me, who are questioning if they should incorporate strength training in their routine? What advice would you have for them?
Oh, I would say you 100% you need to. There's just no doubt about it. I think the strength training is what made my run enjoyable, really, because I wasn't hurting. I didn't hit a wall. I didn't feel like my legs were all wobbly like when I ran one of my first half marathons. Yeah, 100% changed that run.